Mama Gyan Timanandasya Ganangana Shilakaya Chaksurdamilitam Jena Tasmai Si Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Shnapitam Jena Bhutale Shwayam Rupa Kadamayam Vedanti Svapadantika Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakti Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare So good evening to all of you, wonderful devotees. We have gathered this evening here on the eve of the new year 2025. We're leaving 24 behind, bye-bye. And we're coming to 2025. Good luck. And I've been asked to speak on the theme of New Year's resolutions. It's a tradition in the West, and somehow it's become a tradition in Bharat, in India, to make New Year's resolutions on the eve of this year and try our best to follow them. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. I'd like to say that, first of all, every New Year has somehow become a major event in our International Society for Krishna Consciousness. However, forgive me, but I don't see this New Year's event in our annual Vaishnava calendar. Many of us follow the Vaishnava calendar because there's many holy days, Janmashtami, Shrikadev's appearance day, Radhastami, so many holy days. We follow the Vaishnava calendar, but I studied it last night. There's no New Year's festival, New Year's Eve festival on December 31st. In the Vedic system of the New Year, it's calculated by the lunar moon, which states that the first day of the month of Chaitra, April, May, is considered New Year's Day. Did you know that? The lunar moon, for generally people in India, it's calculated as the first day of the month of Chaitra, which falls when? April, May. That's your New Year's. What's happening today? We're not America or Germany. We're Bharat. Jai Hind. Jai Hind. Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram. So our New Year's not tomorrow. Our New Year's the first day of the month of Chaitra. However, all of us, we consider ourselves a tighter knit family, the Gaudiya Vaisnava Sampradaya, with the Yugavatar Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as our Lord and Master. And on our Gaudiya calendar, the New Year starts on Gaura Purnima. Gaura Purnima Mahamahotsav ki. That's our New Year. Not tomorrow. I mean, with all due respect, we're kind of mixing East and West, but East is best. West is less. And I'm American. I think it was Rabindranath Tagore, he said, East is East and West, and never the two shall meet. I'm sorry, sir, this Krishna conscious movement has united the East and West under one banner, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So someone can say, Maharaj, don't be fanatic, this New Year's celebration, it's celebrated from New York to London to France to China to Sydney. Don't be fanatic. Devotees can also, add this as part of the Vaishnava calendar. We have to keep our tradition as it is, because it's the very best tradition on this planet. Vedic culture. Vedic culture once spread throughout the entire world, and the emperor was Maharaj Yudhishthira. And there were very few sinful activities going on like that. Everyone was pious. People were all Krishna bhaktas or Ram bhaktas, any incarnation of the Lord. But due to the influence of the age of Kali, that's all deteriorated now. So the best hope for the world is actually Krishna consciousness. Because we see everyone on an equal vision. Vidya vinaya sampane brahmaniga vihastini sunicha vasapakicha pandita samadarshanaha. An enlightened person doesn't see the material body. The ABCs of spiritual knowledge, the first course, 101, Krishna consciousness, is I'm not the body. I'm a spirit soul. And although there's variety of spirit souls, we're all the same quality. Same quality. God is very great, we're very small, but we all have the same spiritual quality. This is the vision of unity. United Nations of the spiritual world. This is the peace formula, to see everyone equally on the spiritual platform. So that tradition can save the world, and that is what we're preaching around the world. This Krishna conscious movement is the hope for the world. Prabhupada said one time, if it wasn't for this Krishna conscious movement spreading all around the world, every town and village, with the loud chanting of Krishna's holy name, distribution of prasadam, protections of the cows, gurukuls, etc., he said if we hadn't started in 1965, this world would be in a much worse condition than it is now. That's the power of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So neither do we want to let this tradition, which is the peace formula, and can send everyone back home to the spiritual world where there's no birth, disease, old age, and death. Neither do we want to water it down. Neither do we want to water it down. We want to keep it very strong for the benefit of the whole world. So when we introduce new things, it kind of waters it down. So I say, let's celebrate the new year on Lord Chaitanya's appearance day, the full moon. How do we celebrate? Not by going out to bars and restaurants and partying and blah, blah, blah. No. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Shango Bhangusha Parshadam Yagnai Sankirtan Prayari. We want to have kirtan. But that's all. That's everything. Kali Kali Namurup Krishna Avatar. Namachintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. The name of Krishna is absolute. It's not different than Krishna. So if our party centers around the glorification of Krishna, that's the best. Of course, we can't convince the whole world to stop their partying tonight, but we ourselves can keep our tradition, make our tradition strong, and those pious people of the world, they will eventually join. We don't want to add new things or take anything. Prabhupada said, this is my credit in preaching Krishna consciousness. As it is, like Bhagavad Gita, as it is. I didn't add anything that our Mahaprabhu gave, or our previous acharyas. I didn't subtract everything. The package is complete. It just has to be delivered, not by DHL, but by all of you, by going out and preaching this divine command. There's a danger in adding things. Several times Srila Prabhupada told the story of the cat in the basket. One time at a prominent family's wedding, their daughter was getting married, the bride entered the function with her bridesmaids. And one of the bridesmaids noticed a sleeping cat along the aisle. Maybe someone would trip over the cat, or the cat would get scared. Meow! I want that at your wedding. Meow! So one of the bridesmaids, there was a wicker basket, a straw basket nearby, with a nice top on it. She quickly picked up the kitty cat, meow, put it in the basket, closed the top, closed it, and they went on their way, the marriage procession. So, the naive sister of that lady who got married, when it came time for her wedding, right, when she was planning the wedding 2 years later, as part of the preparation, she ordered someone to put a cat in a basket. Why? Because she said, well, that's what my sister did when she got married. So at her marriage, someone bought a cat, put it in the basket on the side of the aisle as they came down. And many years later, when her daughter grew up, amongst the many preparations that she prepared, because, well, it's tradition, she ordered a cat in a basket for part of the marriage. And when she was questioned about that, she said, don't you know, it's part of our Vedic culture. It's obvious because my mother and my grandmother did it. Don't you know? It's been a tradition for hundreds of years now. So was it a real tradition? Somebody just added something. Have you at your marriage, ladies, did you have a cat in a basket? But in that family, it went on for many generations, and it became tradition. Just because one time one lady picked up, put a cat in a basket. So Prabhupada gave that analogy to show how things, when we go a little off course, they become tradition, it becomes watered down. So let's be careful about observing festivals that are not necessarily part of our Vedic tradition. If anything, we can participate in the time off, because New Year's celebration means you get off work early, there's no school that day, everybody's getting dressed up to go and woo, woo, woo. So, we can take advantage of that free time like we're doing tonight. This is the best, quote-unquote, Western New Year's celebration. We come together in front of our beautiful deities and we chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We want to take advantage of every free moment to chant Hare Krishna, and when there's an opportunity to chant, we don't want to miss it. Prabhupada said one time, if you've got time, chant Hare Krishna. So many of your friends are going to parties, right? Office parties, school parties. You're here at the real party, the Yajna party, the Maha Mahotsava. In the Vishnu Purana, it's written very clearly that we don't want to waste even a moment of our lives. Sahanistan machitchandram, samoha sacha vitnama, yan muritam shanam vapi, vasudevam nachinyat. If even a moment of remembrance of Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is missed, that is the greatest loss, that is the greatest illusion, and that is the greatest anomaly. So maybe you didn't get invited to a party tonight and you're lamenting. No, you're using your time wisely. You come into the temple and you're hearing Hari Katha. This is the best of celebrations. And if this opportunity is missed, it's the biggest mistake we can make. In the Kelava Ashtakam we hear, Aho, what sorrow, more painful than any other misery in this world. Mistaking it as a mere piece of glass, the people have forgotten the real jewel, the holy names of Sri Hari, the holy names of Sri Hari, the holy names of Sri Hari are everything. So as soon as a devotee gets an opportunity, whether it's a Harinam party, chanting his rounds, or a significant event at the temple, they run to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so on this day, what do most people do? They drink and eat, and then they make a resolution. They raise a glass of some substance and they say, I take my New Year's resolution is this. And they make their New Year's resolutions. I saw my parents do it, I saw my neighbors do it, I saw my friends. My resolution is my resolution. But actually it's a joke. Because in my country, America has shown that only 9% of Americans that make resolutions complete them. Only 9%. They stand up, my resolution is I'm going to not eat so much sugar, I'm going to stop smoking, I'm not going to be late for work, right? But only 9% of the people actually follow through on their resolution. In fact, further research shows that, 23% of the people give up their resolution by the end of the first week, and 43 quit their resolutions by the end of January. Last year I met a man on the plane, a couple days after New Year's Eve, and he asked me what my New Year's resolutions were. I said, no meat eating, no intoxication, and chanting 16 rounds a day. He said, that's unusual, I said, but it's very nice. And I keep my resolutions. Really? You keep them? I said, I've kept them for 52 years. You know what he told me? Last year, he said, I was able to keep all my New Year's resolutions tucked away in a newspaper on my bookshelf. In other words, he made the resolutions, put them in a book, and forgot about them. What a joke. It's a joke. So there's some real jokes about New Year's resolutions. It's kind of corny, but we have to have some fun tonight. What's a spider's New Year's resolution? Everyone listen. What is a spider's New Year's resolution? Raise your hand if you know. A spider, spider, his New Year's resolution to spend less time on the web. The web, internet? What does every new year really have in store for us? Like, there's a new year. What does every new year really have in store for us? Another 365 days. I don't know if it translates. Why do you need a jeweler on New Year's Eve? To ring in the new year. I don't think they're getting it. What does a ghost say on January 1st? Happy Boo Year. What should people never eat on New Year's Eve? Firecrackers. You people eat crackers, right? Yeah. So on New Year's Eve, don't eat firecrackers. Okay, one more time. What does a caterpillar do on January 1st? Come on, you know caterpillar? What does a caterpillar do on January 1st? He turns over a new leaf. Okay, enough of that. Sometimes Papa would tell jokes. Let's discuss what New Year's resolutions we can make. Many of you came to hear. What's Mars going to say? What's he going to suggest? Actually, we don't have to make new resolutions. As Vaishnavas, we've already taken the most important and significant resolutions. To be Krishna devotees. That's our resolution. Much like Hanuman. In the Valmiki Ramayana, Sundarakanda, verses 34 to 37, Hanuman famously says, Hanuman, I have made my resolution, firm and unshaken in purpose. As a servant of Ram, I cannot act contrary to his will. I have made my resolution, Hanuman said, firm and unshaken in purpose. As a servant of Ram, I cannot act contrary to his will. My heart and soul are bound to serve him, and I will never deviate from the path of Dharma. That's a good resolution. Shri Hanuman ki! Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki! Death to Ravana!
Death to Ravana!
Jai Sri Ram!
Jai Sri Ram!
And in reciprocation for such resolutions, if a devotee is firm in his faith, I will never deviate from the path of Dharma. I'll never deviate from the path of Dharma. I'll never deviate in my service to Radha and Krishna, Gaura Nitai, Sitaram, Lakshmi Narayan. The Lord reciprocates. Because love is reciprocal. If you love someone, then they love you back. So if we make a vow to Krishna, Krishna will make a vow towards us. He's real, he's there, he's not some word, some concept of love, or energy. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if you make a vow to him, what will he vow to you? Lord Ram says in the Ramayana. It's also quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 22:34. Shukrit evra papano yash tavasmiti yachyate. Abhayam sarvada tasmai tadangitadvatam mama. This is Ram's vow. It is my vow, Ram says, that if one only once sincerely surrenders unto me, saying, my dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on. Jai Sri Ram. I want you to repeat his vows so you have faith in taking your vows so to reciprocate. Okay, so repeat after. This is Ram, you repeat. It is my vow, Ram says, that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, my dear Lord, from this day I am yours. From this day I am yours. Lord Ram, from this day I am yours. And praise to him for courage. Ram, give me courage to control my senses. Ram says, I shall immediately award courage to that person. And he will always remain safe from that time on. Are we safe in this world? Padam padam yat vipadam tesham. There's danger at every step. You try to make some, security guard, you make sure your tires have enough air in them, but still danger comes there. Raki Krishna Mari Ke, Mari Krishna Raki Ke. If Krishna wants to kill you, no one can save you, and if Krishna wants to save you, no one can kill you. But you have to be Krishna Bhakta. You have to show your allegiance. Like a boy says to a girl, I love you. She says, prove it. Bring me some flowers. Buy me a diamond ring. So love means you have to prove your love. So you have to show Krishna that you really love him, you want his protection. And he'll reciprocate. All of them, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. We also hear the Avanti Brahmanas resolution that every sannyasi is bound to repeat after chanting their Gayatri mantra. Tams astaya paratmanishtam ajashitam puvatar mahir maharbahi aham tadisyapi dharanta param tamo mukhandi yeshevayava. I shall cross over the insurmountable ocean of nations by being firmly fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna. This was approved by the previous acharyas who were fixed in firm devotion to the Lord Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is a good resolution. Let's take this resolution. You're not sannyasis, but you're all renunciates in one sense together, because you can't practice Krishna consciousness by holding on to material desires. Let go. Take the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. So we have to be resolute in purpose to give up our material desires. You have to be determined. So repeat after me. I shall cross over, the insurmountable ocean of nescience by being firmly fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna. This was approved by previous acharyas who were fixed in firm devotion to the Lord Paramatma, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, one might question, okay, I'm going to make that resolution, but what will be the result of making these type of resolutions on New Year's Eve or any time? What will the result be? Someone might say, okay, I'm going to follow what Maharaj said. I'm going to make resolutions to be firmly fixed in devotion to Krishna. What will happen? How will Krishna reciprocate? We're expecting him to reciprocate. Just like one time, someone asked Prabhupada, what's the meaning of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra? You know what he said? He said it means, my friend, my friend, my friend. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Krishna is our ever well-wishing friend, because when we fall from the spiritual world, he comes with us as a super soul and stays with us until we get back on back. Even we're a tree, a dog, a cat, he's there. Krishna's the best friend of every living entity. So if you pray to Krishna with this resolution, I shall cross over this insurmountable oceans of nations by being firmly fixed in your service. That's my New Year's resolution, Krishna. So how does he reciprocate? How do we know he's listening? Well, Srimad Bhagavatam 11:23-31 says, quoting Krishna, Lord Krishna continued, his mind thus determined that most excellent Avantati Brahmana was able to untie the knots of desire within his heart. He then assumed the role of a peaceful and silent sannyasi mendicant. By that resolution, Krishna was pleased with him and relieved him of his material desires. Well, how do we do that? Become a sannyasi and chant this mantra after every one of our Gayatri mantras? No. How do we become free from our material desires? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Krishna's present in the sound of his name. We chant his name. Just like when you take shower, if you look at the drain, all the muddy water is going. So when you chant Hare Krishna, after some time you look at yourself in the mirror, I'm not getting older, I'm getting younger. There's that effulgence. One time Prabhupada was walking across the street in London, and one policeman grabbed Shyamasundar Prabhu's arm, his secretary, Prabhupada's secretary. He said, look, your teacher's glowing like the sun. Srila Prabhupada was 74. He's glowing like the sun. Srila Prabhupada K. So that when you practice, there's results. But you have to be very determined. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. Not diverted, a new car, a new house, a beauty pageant, cricket, no. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose. The aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligent, those who are irresolute, is many-branched. The stricter you are, the better. And what will be the result of being strict and following our vows and resolutions made at the time of initiation? It's described in Srimad Bhagavatam 11:2-40. By chanting the holy name of the Supreme Lord with fixed attention and resolute in purpose, today is the day for taking this resolution, one comes to the stage of love of God. Wow. Then the devotee is fixed in his vow as an eternal servant to the Lord, and he gradually becomes very much attached to a particular name and form of the personality of Godhead. As his heart melts, someday your heart's going to melt. If you're strict, and you stick to the process. As his heart melts with ecstatic love, he laughs loudly, ha 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 ha, Krishna! Or cries or shouts, Haribo! Sometimes he sings and dances like a madman, woo! And he's indifferent to public opinion. One time my godmother Vishnu Swami, he asked Prabhupada, he said, we're on the street and we're dancing like crazy people. Should we stop? Prabhupada said, no, don't worry about the nonsense. Materialistic people, you just chant and dance your hearts out. So our duty today is not to make up new vows. I'm going to brush my teeth 3 times a day. I'm going to take 3 baths. I'm not going to speak harshly to my wife. I'm not going to hide money from the government. Those are trivial vows. We should already be fixed in our vows as Brahmana Vaishnavas. We don't have to add some new vows. We have to be strict in the vows we've taken. It's not impossible, not difficult. Well, these are strict vows. When Prabhupada was going to America on the Jaladuta, before he landed in Boston, he told us, the boat was plying towards the coast of America. He was thinking, if I tell these American people to stop eating meat, to stop taking intoxication, stop illicit sex and gambling, which he would have to tell them, I think they'll say to me, old man, take your message back to India. Prabhupada said this. They would reject him. Because those vows, horrible. Prabhupada would use that word, horrible. For a materialistic person, that's worse than death. Just like when the king took the vow to remain celibate, the prince took the vow to remain celibate because his father, the king, wanted a second wife. It was his Bhishma. What was Devadat? Devavrata. Devavrata. His father, anyway, it's a long story. So he took a vow, meaning he wouldn't become the king. He took a vow he would never marry because one of the queens, she said, oh, well, your older son, he'll marry and his son will be the king. I want my son to be the king. So Bhishma said, I take a vow to remain brahmachari my whole life. When he said that, the demigods started shaking in fear and they showered flowers on Devavrata. They said, your name is Bhishma, one who's taken a terrible vow, celibacy. Because the demigods are mixed devotees. They have some material desires. So the idea of no sex, no intoxication, no gambling, that's horrible to them. But Bhishma took it. Honorable name. One who's taken a terrible vow. You're also Bhishmas and Bhishmainis. You've taken terrible vows. No meat eating, no intoxication, no pan, no promiscuous sex, no gambling. How can you do it? Padam drishta nivartante. Because you're getting the higher taste by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure, and he's present in the sound of his name. Chanakapanda says you can't give up something unless you get something better. You can't give up something unless you get something better. If you have 10 rupees and I give you 1 crore rupees, no problem. You can give them up because I'm giving you something better. So what's the best of the best? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So if you're a sincere chanter of the holy name, you won't find material desires to be an obstacle. They may come to your mind for some time. You just chant Hare Krishna. Because fear personified is afraid of the holy names. So, like sometimes you see in a lake, the mud is kind of agitated and some bubbles come up to the surface. You see sometimes in a lake or a pond, there's some disturbance down below, fishes swimming by, little bubbles come up. So Prabhupada said even transcendentalists sometimes, due to their past, some little material desires come to the mind. It happens to every chanter until you're a pure devotee. But if you chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Where are the bubbles? Where are the material desires? They faded away. So we should be thankful that our Lord Chaitanya made this process easier for the people of this age. And we should be ever more grateful to Srila Prabhupada for adjusting the instructions of Lord Chaitanya to the 21st century. Lord Chaitanya was so strict as a sannyasi, and his followers were almost as strict as he was. The ladies could only offer obeisances to Lord Chaitanya from 100 meters away. He was very strict with his brahmacharis and sannyasis and with his grihastras. But that was required 500 years ago in Vedic society. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he made it a little easier. He was a sannyasi, but for the purpose of spreading Krishna consciousness to the British, English-speaking people, he sometimes dressed as an English gentleman. And sannyasis are meant to walk everywhere barefoot. He would ride in motor cars. The British thought, well, here's one intelligent Indian gentleman, let me hear what he has to say. And Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say, you English people, you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. That was appropriate for the 1930s. But when Prabhupada came to the West, the Western people, it was full of hippies everywhere. One time someone said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, do you know what a hippie is? He said, you know better than me. And I know, I saw them, I lived with them. Patao lok. But Srila Prabhupada came and he didn't give a long-winded sermon. He didn't threaten them, you'll go to hell if you don't accept Krishna as God. No. He sat down in Tompkins Square Park, where all the young students were, and with a bongo drum. I mean, a bongo drum's like the little size of the mridanga. It doesn't make my ding, ding, ding. Little, and he played. And in a weak voice, because he was elderly, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. And people would come, all the immigrants, because this is the part of the city with the Polish and the Greek and the Indians and the immigrants from overseas. This was their area, they would come. And Brahmananda Prabhu told me, the first kirtan that Prabhupada chanted in Tompkins Square Park, he sang for 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours. And the crowd of 200 people, because Brahmananda counted them, no one moved an inch. There was no microphone, there was no sound system. Prabhupada was elderly, his voice didn't project so far. But what? It's a transcendental sound vibration chanted by a pure devotee of the Lord. Prabhupada said the chanting of Hare Krishna is best heard from the lips of a pure devotee. Same as the preaching. If you listen to Prabhupada's recorded lectures, many of them are in Hindi. Some of them are in Bengali. And we hear Prabhupada's kirtans. Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Parakamala. You can go on and on and on and on. So we have many favorite kirtaneers. In ISKCON, we have our kirtan melas. My favorite kirtaneer is Srila Prabhupada. So his kirtan should keep ringing through our temples, through the sound systems, through our iPhones, through our speakers at home. We should hear Srila Prabhupada, because that sound vibration, that is really Cheto Darpana Marjana. That will water the seed of bhakti within the heart. Shabda Brahma. I told this story the other night. I traveled with Srila Prabhupada and some devotees from Kolkata to Hyderabad. Prabhupada was installing the big Radha Krishna that are present there today. Beautifully tall deity. You have to go like this to them. And when we arrived in Hyderabad, I was so tired. All I had was some crackers, not firecrackers, some crackers. And Prabhupada got off the train and he went straight to the farm outside of the temple, because he heard some villagers wanted to hear about Krishna. I hadn't slept in 2 days, hungry. I accompanied Prabhupada. He sat under a tree and some of the villagers came, maybe 20 or 30. And Prabhupada started speaking Krishna consciousness. At the end of his darshan, when a lady raised her hand, she said, Swamiji, can you please tell us why Lord Ram descended onto this planet in Treta Yuga? Good question, ladies. Why did Lord Ram appear on this earth planet? So Prabhupada kind of smiled. He said, why did Lord Ramachandra leave Vaikuntha to come to this earth? He said, to teach us the difficulty in accepting a wife. I have some jokes about them too, so don't worry. Ram came to teach us because Sita, he had to go through. It was kind of a humorous reply, but then Prabhupada started speaking in Hindi. And I was tired. Suddenly I heard Prabhupada's voice. Indradyumna. Why are you sleeping when I'm speaking? You know, when the spiritual master chastises you, you feel smaller than an ant. Why are you sleeping when I'm speaking? There's no excuse. So I said, oh, Prabhupada, because I don't speak Hindi. I thought Prabhupada said, that is nonsense. To speak Hindi? No, not to speak Hindi. Not understanding Hindi. That's nonsense, because this is Shabda Brahma. This is transcendental sound vibration. It will purify your heart. Hindi, English, Bengal, whatever. You sit and listen. I never slept in another class in the last 52 years. Shabda Brahma. So many of us don't know Bengali, many of us know Hindi, many of the songs that Prabhupada sang, we Westerners don't know the meaning unless we study, but still, we get as purified as you do when we hear those songs because it's transcendental sound vibration. So when Prabhupada came to the West, he made it easier than his Guru Maharaj, who made it easier than Lord Chaitanya. So much so that no one can escape this network of Sri Krishna Sankirtan. It's so blissful. You chant, you dance, and if you can't do anything else, Prabhupada's given us Bhagavad Prasadam. That will also purify us. I remember one time Prabhupada was with us in Paris, and he was upset because we had not invited enough important people to come see him. He chastised us. I'm coming all the way from Vrindavan and you don't have anyone important to see me? I'm bearing with me the most important message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Go out and bring some people to see me. We all ran out of the temple. Then I went to see a priest, a famous priest. He wasn't the top priest, but he was the second priest in charge of Notre Dame. I met him on Sankirtan because I was doing Sankirtan outside the Notre Dame. He was questioning, is this a different religion? I said, there's one God. So we kind of knew each other. And I asked him to come and see my spiritual master. He wasn't really interested. He kind of just did it as a favor to me. So he came one evening and I brought him to see Srila Prabhupada. He was dressed in his robes and they had the cross there, and long beard. So Prabhupada was preaching to him, as Krishna conscious movement is the solution to all problems in society. People have, and the priest was going. And Prabhupada said to him, are you interested? No. I thought, come on, you're in front of a pure devotee, a Shaktavash avatar. Sridhar Maharaj, Prabhupada's godmother, called him a Shaktavash avatar, a specially empowered devotee from the spiritual world to create a revolution within human society by the chanting of Hare Krishna. I'm thinking, come on, just say you're interested. And Prabhupada said, are you interested? The priest went, He looked at me like, why did you bring me here? So Prabhupada said, all right, bring prasad. Because Prabhupada knew if he didn't want to hear the philosophy, he didn't want to chant Hare Krishna, if he took prasad, what would happen? Prasadam is what? Lord Chaitanya's secret weapon. People come to Govindas not to chant Hare Krishna, hear philosophy, they come to eat. One of the greatest pleasures in life is eating. People live to eat, they don't eat to live. They live to eat. They don't eat to live. We eat to live and respect it as prasadam. So Prabhupada said, so one devotee, it had been a feast that day, I think it was Balaram's appearance day, he'd made these big gulabs, this big gulabs, dripping with juice. Here I always get gulabs a little hard, but in the West we make them a little soft, And if you squeeze it, like a sponge. This is Western gulabs. We've improved upon your gulabs. So he brought these gulabs, and so Prabhupada very deftly took out a gulab, dripping, and he said to the priest, "Put your hand out." The priest went. Prabhupada put this dripping gulab in the priest's hand. Prabhupada said, "Take." "I'll take with me." "No, take, eat." So the priest looked, "Eat this?" Prabhupada said, "Yes. In our Indian tradition, we eat it in one bite." So the priest didn't want to be impolite. So he took the gulab, and he could hardly, boom! And all the juice, all over his beard and his tunic. He had juice everywhere. And Prabhupada said, "Two is better." So Prabhupada said, "That is all, you can go now." Because he'd taken prasad from Radha Krishna Murtis. So there's something for everyone in the Hare Krishna movement, from A to Z. And it's our duty as followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada to conceive ways that people can either hear the chanting of Hare Krishna, take a book they want to read, dance with us, hear, or at the very least, take prasad. When I was doing Sankirtan, I did book distribution for 11 years. I'd always take the Mongol sweets from the Mongol Arti, cut them into little pieces, and every time I sold a book, I'd give people a little piece of maha. They say, "Oh, thank you." I said, "Thank you means you eat it now." I was a little bold. "Thank you." No, you eat it now, because it'll get, how would you say, it'll get stale after a while. I'd make them eat it. I'd say, "Thank you very much, now you can go." So our resolution today and tomorrow is simply maintaining the vows we've already taken. We don't have to make new resolutions or improving upon them. And to always remain fixed on the goal. We have to hear about Mayapur Dham. We have to hear about the glories of Vrindavan. We have to hear the pastimes that take place in those transcendental abodes. And who are the devotees who live there with Mahaprabhu and Nitai and the Panchatattva? Who are the Lord's associates in Vrindavan? That's our goal. We know who we are and we know where we're going. And if we forget the goal, we may lose our determination to follow our vows. It's not easy to remember the goal, but you have to remember the goal constantly. A mundane example, I remember when I was young, I think it was the summer of 1957, I was a young boy, and my parents said we're going to drive from San Francisco to Los Angeles to go to Disneyland. Wow! Every American boy's dream to go to Disneyland and see Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. The young boys here, they go to Mayapur to see Gaura Nitai. And I was happy. "Oh, I get to see Donald Duck. Is he real, Mom?" "Yes, son." "Really?" So we're driving, and it was a hot California day, 15 hours. And my sister and my brother were squashed in the back seat. We were fighting, and it was hot as driving. I kept saying, "Mom, are we there?" "No, son, we have 10 more hours." So I just thought of Disneyland the whole way. Sorry, young people don't listen to me. I thought of Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse and the rides and and because I was able to fix myself on the goal, I made it to Disneyland. It's a very mundane example. But in an absolute way, we can tolerate any austerities, any difficulties, any challenges on the path home by always refocusing over and over and over on what is the goal. And the goal is described very clearly by Lord Chaitanya. Not in a long-winded lecture. Elegance is truth spoken concisely. Mahaprabhu told us the goal. Prema pum artho mahan. How could you get more eloquent than that? Prema pum artho mahan. The perfection of Krishna consciousness is to achieve prema, pure love for Krishna. Oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years and more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. Krishna, I'm feeling all vacant in the world of your absence. Is anything equal to that? No. So that's the highest perfection. And how do we achieve it? Through strict practice of Krishna consciousness, following the rules and regulations. And the most important thing is our chanting. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Prabhupada said, work now, samadhi later. You have to work every day to achieve that goal. Sometimes we hear of aspiring devotees, they get special mercy, they get Guru Kripa, or they get Krishna Kripa. There's a deity in Jagannath Puri, Tota Gopinath. I was told when I first went there in 1972, even aspiring sadhaka, if he dances in ecstasy in kirtan in front of Tota Gopinath, sometimes Tota Gopinath blesses him with prema bhakti. I said to the Pujari, has it ever happened? He said, yes, on 2 or 3 occasions. I saw some aspiring devotee. He came in and danced for 10 hours. Suddenly, he was crying tears of ecstasy, genuine tears of ecstasy. Gauritai Hare. So sometimes, on rare occasions, Tota Gopinath will bless an aspiring devotee with prema bhakti. Or Mahaprabhu is famous for the Vasudeva Marita Pada, that he delivered nectar to the leper Vasudeva. And what to speak of delivering the lions, the tigers, the snakes, the birds, the deer in Jharikanda. Don't think that it's a play, it's something made up. No, they're dumb animals. Dumb animals. Like when I was a kid, we had an elephant called Dumbo in the zoo. Dumbo. Not so intelligent. Dumbo the elephant in the San Francisco Zoo. The animals, the Mahaprabhu came through. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Yadavaya Madhavaya Krishna. Hey Gopal Govindaram Sri Madhusudan. Hey! Giridhari Gopina Madhana. And I went to the Jharikanda forest and I went to the place, there's a temple there with some sadhus who worship that place where Mahaprabhu delivered all the forest animals. And because it was such an ecstatic kirtan by the chanting of Mahaprabhu, even the rocks melted. I saw it. And because the rocks melted, you can see the footprints of all those animals. No one could have carved it. Big imprints of elephants. You can see the devotees' footprints, and there's a footprint nearby. There's a tiger and there's a deer footprint. Lots of tigers and deer footprints, because Chaitanya Charitamrita says that when they were in the kirtan, the animals were freed from envy, and on the level of bhav, the deer were embracing the tigers, their natural enemies. They're dancing together. I saw the footprints. I saw the snakes, like this. Some snakes were long, and it wasn't just in one place. I saw the footprints extend for 2 kilometers. Did you know? The kirtan went through the Jharikanda forest, and we followed it. And in one place, we saw the footprint of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the rock. 2 footprints like this. So I did dandabats, and I put my head on that footprint. And one of the little rocks went in my head, and it was bleeding. I said, very nice, no problem. And later I took that little rock, which is part of the footprint of Mahaprabhu, I put it in a kavacha, and I wear that kavacha on special events. I saw the footprints. We came 2 kilometers, and it was going into the forest, and our guide said, I said, let's go. He said, no, you have to stop here. I said, no, but I want to follow the footprints. He said, no, there's still tigers. And you're not Lord Chaitanya. They'll eat you. They're the ones that weren't delivered. There's a case where the Mahamantra delivered even the animals. But those are special cases. Our process is slow but steady wins the race. So if anything, we've made our vows, but we should reaffirm our vows for the 2025. I will not deviate, just like Hanuman. I will not deviate from my chanting. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. So I encourage you today, on the eve of 2025, to don't make any new vows. You took some pretty strong vows. Just reaffirm you'll stick to your vows and increase the quality. One time, one of my god sisters, when she was taking initiation, she came before Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, "So what are the rules and regulations?" She stated them. He said, "So how many rounds will you chant?" She said, "Srila Prabhupada, I vow to chant 16 rounds every day." And Prabhupada looked over and he said, "Why a minimum of 16? Why not more?" She like, "What?" She, "Prabhupada, I promised to chant a minimum of I promised to chant 16 rounds a day." Prabhupada said, "A minimum." He said, "Why a minimum? Why not more?" So we can chant more. We can read Prabhupada's books. One devotee scholar estimated that it requires 18 years to thoroughly study Prabhupada's books. 2 years to study the 25 small books, to really study them and learn them. 2 years to study and master the 12 medium books, learn all the verses. 1 year to study and learn Bhagavad Gita. 10 years to study, memorize verses, and master the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. And 3 years to read and to know the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhus, we have a lot of work to do. So don't procrastinate. Don't say, "Well, this year I've got college. This year I've got a new job. This year I had a baby." Oh, life is short and then you die. To put off something for tomorrow that can be done today is called procrastinating. We don't want to put anything off for tomorrow because we don't know if we're going to see tomorrow. We don't want to procrastinate like Prahlad Maharaj's friends. When the teachers left the Gurukul room, what did Prahlad's friends do? They had a New Year's celebration. They're dancing and doing all kinds of nonsense. Prahlad said, "Stop, my dear friends. Human life is not meant for these frivolous activities. It's meant for becoming Krishna conscious." He said, "One who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood, to practice the activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements." So his friends were like, "Prahlad, we're only 5. They rebelled. "Prahlad, we're young, we're meant to play now. We'll become Krishna conscious when we're old." That's procrastinating. So Prahlad said, "What is your definition of old?" And the boys said, "Old means just before you die." So Prahlad said, "Don't children die? Don't middle-aged people die?" "Yes." So he said, "You could all be old now. You're young. If old means just before you die, young boys die, so you could be old now. So you should take to Krishna consciousness immediately." And because he was a pure devotee, one of the 12 Mahajans, his words were very potent. They all became devotees. And Prabodhana Saraswati says the same thing in his Vrindavan Mahimamrita. "Friend, when will you die? Do you know? Do not even infants sometimes die unexpectedly? With clear intelligence, without attachment to the body and senses, and without stopping to think, run to Vrindavan." So we should not procrastinate. This year is going to be a difficult year. I don't know if I'm just going to try to do the bare minimum. I don't know what's going to happen. No, this may be your last year. This may be your last month. This may be your last day. Of course, I hope not, but we've only got a few hours left of the day. But take it very seriously. If you've got time, chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. And if there are some challenges, just push ahead. There'll be challenges, but push ahead. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in conclusion, he encourages like that. He wrote one song. one poem. I don't know how it'll go across in English for all of you, but it's one of my favorite poems. We have many poets, Surdas, other poets, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur is one of my favorite poets, and this is one of his poets. So push thy onward march, O soul, against an evil deed that stands with soldiers, hate and lust. A hero be indeed. Maintain thy post in spirit world as firmly as you can, and never let matter push thee down. O stand, heroic man. O Sharagrahi Vaishnav soul, thou art an angel fair, lead me on to Vrindavan, and spirit's power declare. There rests my soul from matter free upon my lover's arm. Eternal peace and spirit's love are all my chanting charms. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.